and they all date back to, guess when? 10,500 BC. Okay, these Cro-Magnon drawings show they drew pictures of themselves. It shows people who look just like modern white people. Okay, this proves that the white race existed before Adam and Eve, and Genesis chapter 2 is simply talking about the man Adam and the woman Eve, representatives of the white race, who began a new and very specific seed line, the direct descendants of Adam and Eve.
Maybe the whole thing about the garden was actually talking about the beginning of civilization, because the foundation of civilization is the self-sufficient family farm, is it not?
Right,
by the way, we are recording here, and my guest is Eli James. We're talking about Atlantis, we're talking about the links, we're talking about the biblical links, we're talking about the human race here and the evolution. And Eli, I believe, and the evidence is pointing to it, that 100,000 years ago, it was possible that man was walking with dinosaurs.
That's right.
And that we had the flying saucers, we had the transportation, we built the pyramids, we were responsible for the lines at NASCAR that you can only see from the air. So
and the ley lines crisscross Europe, and you find that all of the major cathedrals are constructed on the nodes of these ley lines. Stonehenge is on a ley line node. Chartres Cathedral, Notre Dame. You talk about all of the major ancient monuments of Europe. They're all on these ley lines. And this grid system of the planet is far older than the story of Adam and Eve. It's been part of our planetary history, as you say, probably for hundreds of thousands of years. Okay? But the planet was destroyed in the year 10,500 BC by an asteroid impact. The name of that asteroid is Phaeton. We get this name from Plato. Okay? The Phaeton extinction event was an asteroid that struck in the middle of what is now the Atlantic Ocean, but there used to be a continent there by the name of Atlantis. And as a matter of fact, in the state of Florida, northern Florida, and southeastern Georgia, still have residual cometary, or I should say, impacts of stone bodies, which are dated back to the same time, 10,500 BC. And you have these oblong lakes in northern Florida and southeastern Georgia that date back to this time when the planet was struck by Phaeton. Those impact craters are still there. And they have been dated to 10,500 BC. They're impact craters. So, and then there's proof that the planet was much warmer before Noah's flood. It was actually a kind of a greenhouse effect, because the humidity and the moisture on the planet was much greater then than it is now, and the whole planet was warm. Even at the poles, it was warm. So, and all of this happened as a result of this impact, okay? So the great ice flows melted. We had a tremendous increase in the water level rising because the glaciers melted. And then we had frozen poles instead of, a global, greenhouse effect, okay? All of this is documented geologically, okay? This is absolutely proven geology. So why doesn't anybody want to tell this story? Well, because it's involved with the fallen angels. The fallen angels took over this planet. They had a war with the people of Atlantis, and the Atlantis became so corrupted that Yahweh decided to destroy Atlantis, and he used this asteroid Phaeton to destroy it, and he said, well, we've got to start all over again. The earth has become so corrupt that I have to cleanse it, and we'll start all over again. Okay, that all happened in 10,500 BC. The story of Adam and Eve can be no older than 6,000 to 7,000 BC. So there's a good 5,000 years of prehistory that we need to understand. And I cover that on my website in the Enmity series. I show that all of the evidence of this pre-existing civilization is on my website, www.anglo-saxonisrael.com. So your novel approaches the same subject, you know, from a fictional standpoint, but there is tremendous physical, factual evidence to prove that it actually did happen.
You know, I based my original stories on Volokhsky's Worlds of Collision.
Right, yeah. Yeah. Worlds in Collision.
Yes. And,
yeah.
you know,
yeah.
You're right about that. You know, I just don't believe recorded history, you know, just suddenly started. I mean, I think when you've got a whole planetary disaster covering up, you know, the civilizations, you know, I think they built structures to withstand that, and that would be the pyramids. I think they probably had a lot more to do. Now, a lot of people suggested the pyramids were simply power stations, and what they were flying these UFOs around on was Tesla's technology that he pretty ancient.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Yeah, and then the stories from the Mahabharata of the ancient Hindu sages. Actually, I shouldn't call them Hindus, because the religion of Hinduism is not really very old. It's just a continuation of the Vedas, which was Aryan literature. And the Mahabharata clearly states that there was a gigantic war that took place in ancient times, and they had nuclear power. In fact, they just unearthed a dig in India, and they realized that this dig, you know, which has been buried for thousands and thousands of years, is radioactive. How can it be radioactive? Well, because it was destroyed by an atomic explosion. So, you know, they had all this technology many thousands of years ago, and we're just reliving history. The Bible says there's nothing new under the sun, and you can take that literally, right?
That's right.
They had the atomic bomb way back when. That civilization that was destroyed, totally destroyed, and we've had to make a brand new start. Now, our dilemma right now is we're in a situation where we can destroy ourselves again. Are we going to let it happen?
This to me, this is, again, I can't exactly document this. Maybe you can.
Okay.
But I think this whole atomic end of the world scenario is Jewish installed, Jewish inspired. The Jews stole brought the atomic secrets over from Germany under Operation Paperclip, and they bombed innocent people in after the war was already won. They shut off these bombs. This is a Jewish act, not a white Christian act.
Exactly.
And they and let's see we've got 1,000 nuclear weapons stored up there in Albuquerque, under the mountain there in Albuquerque, and Russia's got quite a few, and Israel's got 500 nuclear weapons. Who makes all the money of making these nuclear weapons? Killing the Indians to mine the uranium. Who is making all the money off of the power companies, the power plants that are very, very dangerous and volatile?
Right.
Who's making the money? Who's making the money off of the atomic energy? And who's putting that depleted uranium out as ammunition so that it not only kills our enemies, it kills our own men?
Right. Well, very few people ask the question, who's responsible for all these wars? I guess the wars just happened. Roosevelt was very straightforward. He said, no, these wars just don't happen. They're planned that way. Okay? And Roosevelt was nothing but a Zionist agent. So what we have to understand, well, first, commenting on the first 2 atomic bombs that were dropped on cities, the Jews who were in part of the committee, the selection committee on where to drop the bombs, chose the 2 most Christian cities in Japan, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Those 2 cities had the largest proportion of Christians than any other cities in Japan. That goes to show you. And that's not a coincidence. That's because the people on the selection committee were Jews, and they knew this. And that's why they extended World War II. Remember when Roosevelt said that we want an unconditional surrender? Well, that unconditional surrender dragged the war out even longer because that made the surrender terms unacceptable to the Germans, right? So, and then you have Dresden, which is next to Hiroshima and Nagasaki, is probably the world's most horrendous act of genocide. Dresden had no military structure, it had no manufacturing structure, it was simply an artistic city and a retirement city, and it was flooded with immigrants, mainly women, children, and war refugees, I should say, women, children, and old men. Yet they firebombed Dresden for 3 nights in a row and just simply wiped out a bunch of innocent people. Okay? And this is, again, under Jewish influence, because the Jews declared war against Germany in 1933, 6 years before the Germans declared war, on Poland. Now, the Germans had every right.
Full page ad in the New York Times, folks.
Yes. The Germans had every right to take back that section of Poland, which was given to Poland by the United, it wasn't the United Nations yet, by the League of Nations, which was nothing but an organization of bankers, okay? Just as the United Nations is today, the League of Nations is nothing but Jewish bankers in control. And they carved up Europe totally in opposition to Woodrow Wilson's 14 points, which stated that every ethnic group has the right to self-determination. They simply ignored Wilson's 14 points and started to carve up Europe and turn it into states more to their liking. Okay? So they created multicultural states which since have broken up, like Yugoslavia and Czechoslovakia, etc., etc. They had no right to do that. They had no right to carve up Europe and make new nations out of old nations, and invent new nations that never existed.
They had no right. The Balfour Declaration. England had no right to give Palestine to the Jews. That was the deal they made, though.
That's right. It was totally contrary to the McMacken Treaty, by which Lawrence of Arabia was fighting on behalf of the Arabs against the Turks during World War I. Okay, and Lawrence of Arabia swore to the Arabs he was fighting with, who was leading in war battles, okay, that when the war was over, Britain promised the Arabs that they would get Palestine back from the Turks. The British lied. They gave it to the Jews instead. This is true history, folks. The Jewish version of history is all lies, okay? So, and they actually murdered Lawrence of Arabia because he refused to shut up about the betrayal of the Arabs to the Jews by his own government. Okay, and the way they killed him, they knew that he went back and forth from his home out in the country to wherever he was on a speaking engagement, and they strung a line between 2 trees, a wire, which he couldn't see, and then he was decapitated when he drove home from one of his speaking engagements one day. This is the Zionists doing, okay? If they can destroy nations, they can certainly assassinate individuals, as they assassinated JFK and Abraham Lincoln. So, folks, we are dealing with the synagogue of Satan. This evil bunch of Jewish banksters that run our country, that run the world, and these evil Jewish organizations that have started flooding our white nations with immigrants from all over the world, and now those people are rioting because we don't give them enough welfare. Folks, the Jews have arranged it so that we are paying for our own destruction. Our tax money is paying these rioters to destroy our cities.
That's true.
Yeah, that's what's happening, folks. And you can thank the international Jews for every last genocidal act committed against the white race. They're using the other races to destroy us, but they're paying them to do it. They're brainwashing them to do it, and they have all the money in the world in which to do it. And anybody who believes the Jewish lies, that the white man is evil, and the Jew is God's chosen, oh man, you got a lot to learn. You have got so much to learn. You are so wrong. You have no idea what's going on in the world. The Jews have taken over your mind, and they have taken over your daughter's womb, encouraging her to race mix so as to destroy your race, the white race. Folks, this is racial warfare. It's brainwashing. It's mind control. This is Orwellian. And you can see what's happening. Look what happened in Norway. All those white people killed by the Mossad. Assassinated by the Mossad. And what are they blaming on a white guy who's a pro-homosexual, pro-Zionist? You gotta be kidding me. That guy was not a right-winger. There's nothing in the Jew press that even resembles the truth. And we are suffering tremendously for believing all these Jew lies. Hey, Clay, you still there?
I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, okay.
You haven't said anything I disagree with yet.
Stop me when I'm wrong, right? Oh, man.
But I'm going to take it back to a touchy subject between us.
Okay.
And that's because I think if anybody can, if a police officer, a man with a badge, or a soldier with a gun can walk up to you and say, "What do you got in your pocket?"
Yeah.
Then you're in a police state. You're in a police state.
Oh, yeah.
And this ain't about me wanting to smoke pot. It's about the Jews ripping off and sending to Red China and sending to Soviet Union our #1 cash crop. It's like they came in and suddenly, we discovered that you can get high off cotton, so you're not allowed to grow it in America anymore.
Right. Yeah, well, yeah, it's manipulation of markets. There's no doubt about that. And manipulation of minds, manipulation of markets, manipulation of money. This is what the Jewish religion is all about. And that's why the world is so befuddled and can't understand what's going on, why there is so much confusion, so much warfare, so much animosity between one nation and another. Because it's all orchestrated from the top, and the same orchestrators are publishing false news stories, blaming everybody else for what they're doing. Okay? So it's really about time for the white race to wake up, and for everybody to wake up, to see what the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Schiffs, the Warburgs, the Bernankes, the Greenbergs, the Goldman Sachses, right? All these Jewish corporations that have taken control of the world economy. These are the people who are fomenting warfare and profiting from it. These are the people who are fomenting these race riots and profiting therefrom. Folks, they have taken total control of this planet, just as they did on Atlantis. It's the same story. And they fomented a great war. And because of that great war, Yahweh had to send an asteroid to destroy Atlantis because it had become so corrupt. And the book of Revelation says, this current evil civilization, this current evil world, is going to be destroyed as well. It's going to be destroyed by fire. And when that day comes, you better not be on the Jewish side, because they're the children of the devil, and they have brainwashed you into believing they're God. Right? Paul says, the devil himself, Satan, shall appear as an angel of light. That's because he has twisted your mind to believe that all of the evil that the world Jews do is good. They're the ones behind homosexuality. They're the ones behind pornography. They totally control Hollywood. They have totally dumbed Americans down since they've taken over the publishing and education industries. Look at the NEA. It's all run by Jews. Look at the homosexual movement. It's all run by Jews. Look at D.C. How many Jewish senators and congressmen do? 2% of the people now have 20% of the representatives. Why? Because they have all the money. They control the banks.
81 congressmen are going to Israel. They are all expense paid AIPAC trip.
Right.
This is a total indoctrination. This is total bribery. This is total control. Yeah. If you do what we say, you know, you'll have a good career. If you don't,
that's right.
you know, you'll end up like Wellstone or Kennedy or any of these other people.
Yeah, how many Jews actually support the U.S. Constitution? Have you ever read an article by a Jew in support of the U.S. Constitution?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
They are, look, the protocols of the elders of Zion, you know, and I can hear the gasp out there from our Jewish listeners. Oh, don't you know that's a forgery? That's a forgery. What's a forgery, Eli?
The protocols are based on the Talmud. They're verbatim taken out of the Talmud, which is the Jewish holy book.
What's a forgery, Eli?
Well, a forgery there has to be an original for there to be a forgery, right? Right.
That's right.
So who wrote the original?
So it don't matter. It really don't matter. And this was discovered by the Tsar 2 centuries ago. So whoever wrote it is dead now.
Yeah.
What matters is who is using it, and it's an exact plan for a one world government under Satan, under the Antichrist, under Lucifer.
Yeah, well, you can see that the Jews are promoting every plank of the protocols. They're fulfilling all the prophecies of it, and they're implementing the strategies of it. That's blatantly obvious. So anybody who suggests that the protocols are not a Jewish doctrine, the protocols are the minutes of the first Zionist Congress of Basel in 1896. That's what they are. And Henry Ford included a copy of the protocols. He put a copy of the protocols on the back seat of every Model A Ford that came off the assembly line, because he, being probably the world's most proficient industrialist at the time, understood who the Jews were and how they were destroying America at the time. Okay? That's why he wrote this book called The International Jew, to expose their financial operations and how they destroy nations using their monetary systems. Okay? Henry Ford understood this perfectly. Henry Ford understood that the protocols were legitimate and they are in fact Jewish strategy. The problem that the Jews had with the protocols is they reveal too much. That's why the Jews have a problem. They must pretend that it's a forgery. No, the protocols are real. They're the Talmud in summary.
Yes. And it's what's happening right now, right in front of us, isn't it?
That's right. And we can see, anybody who likes to see, will see that the Jews are the ones doing it. Okay, who's in charge of the Federal Reserve Bank? All 12 branches are run by Jews. All of the internal committee, the discount committee, whatever they call it, I forget the exact name of the Federal Reserve Committee. They're all Jews. So, can't they afford to have a single non-Jew? Can't they trust us with their money? Right? Wow, folks, they're taking total control. Satan is sitting in the driver's seat. And not only in the driver's seat of the economy, he's sitting in the driver's seat of the Judeo-Christian religion, promoting the lie that the Jews are God's chosen people. Any Judeo-Christian minister who deviates from that line loses his job. You don't criticize the Antichrist when the Lord of this, the prince of this world is Satan. As the Paul tells us, Satan is the prince of this world. Look around you, folks. Does this look like a godly world to you? Okay. So, you know, I mean, it's time to wake up, folks. I mean, we really got to pay attention. And then we really have to be dumb, blind, and stupid not to see the Jewish control of every aspect of our society. You really have to be dumb, blind, and stupid not to see it.
You know, and I've had people come on, you know, women that supposedly on a dating site, you know, the way I handle that, I said, well, here's who I am. I'm Clay Douglas. I'm the Free American. Go to my site, check out my site, and you'll see what I do.
Right.
If you're interested, call. They not only don't call, some of them tell me, well, you know, I'm not. You're urging that that people kill little Jewish children.
No,
no, I'm not. I'm telling you that the Jews are killing little Palestinian children.
Right? Yeah. And they use white women as sex slaves in the Israeli state. I thought the Jews were supposed to be opposed to slavery. Of course, the Jews never points this out.
They brought over all the slaves.
That's right. Yeah, Newport, Rhode Island, and Charleston, South Carolina have plaques that have monuments that list the names of the Jewish ship owners who owned the slave ships. Aaron Lopez is one of them. Okay? So folks, wake up. Time to wake up. Realize who your oppressor is. And again, turn off the boob tubes, take your money out of the Jew banks. There's other organizations that aren't owned by Jews that you can put your money into. And, simply stop dealing with Jews. Because the more you deal with Jesus, the book says, come out of Babylon. Stop doing business with Babylon. So if you start obeying God's laws and stop doing business with Babylon, then you won't be oppressed by them anymore.
I mean, I've tried to point out the basis of every civilization is the self-sufficient family farm.
That's right.
The Jews, anytime a communist country takes over, a communist regime takes over, they go after the farmers first.
That's right.
Because they don't want you being able to feed yourself.
That's right. And the Bolsheviks were all Jews. Okay? Lenin was a Jew, Stalin was a Jew, Marx, of course, is a Jew. Moses Hess, who wrote the book on communism, which Marx just copied, was the original communist. He was also the original Zionist, because both Zionism and communism were invented by the Jews to divide the world into two opposing camps which they both controlled. So if you think you're opposing the international bankers by becoming a communist, don't kid yourself. They're using you. They're using you. And if you think you're a capitalist, you're not. You're a Jew usurer. That's what you are. Because the U.S. Constitution says that gold and silver is money, and the government's supposed to issue the money, not Jew banksters.
Well, founding fathers told us, you ever allow a private bank to issue your money, the banks and the corporations that spring up around it will leave your children homeless and the world will be conquered. Now,
he could not have said that. That's pathetic. Thomas Jefferson was a prophet. So was Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln said the same thing. I fear for my country because corporations are getting ready to take over our nation. But there was nothing he could do about it. They assassinated him before he could do anything about it.
That's right.
So folks, wake up. You better open your eyes, because there's a race war planned to exterminate you, and it's in full swing already.
Full swing. That's why these illegals are coming for. They're responsible for 50,000 murders.
That's right.
And I guess we're out of time. I'm sorry we got broken up on this, but hey, I think we'll do it again. I think we'll do it again.
Yeah, be prepared. Remember, every time I come on your show, all your computers start to break down. There's got to be something wrong, right? Okay. All right, Clay, talk to you later.
Thank you. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Eli James.
Great.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
All right. And since I'm not on that, I don't have to do nothing except stop this recording.